Hey everyone, and welcome to AMC Movie Talk for movie fans. I'm Chrisley Kennedy, and this is the show where we bring you the day's biggest movie news, and of course we give you insight into what it all means. Joining me as always is AMC Movie News Editor-in-Chief, Mr. John Campea.
Greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, coming to you live from right here at the Stream.TV studios here in Hollywood, California. We are so glad you decided to make us part of your day.
We also have joining us AMC Movie News Editor, Miss Amy Rose Eisenbach.
Hey, lovely to be back, and Apes is as amazing as you want it to be. Holy wow.
We also have joining us AMC Movie News, Christian Harloff.
I didn't know we could talk about it. We saw it. Yeah, go see it. See it.
And from Rotten Tomatoes, the pinkness herself, Miss Great Drake.
Hello, pinkness.
It's so good to be back, and I can't disagree with anybody about apes. Apes on horses doesn't even begin to explain how great it is. Oh.
And we should put tomorrow late afternoon we will have an AMC spoilers review of the new Planet of the Apes film. So keep your eyes open for that. All right, let's get into it.
I didn't see your shirt, Christian. Nicely timed.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, guys, although there have been rumblings for some time, it looks like new films for both the Gremlins and the Goonies are on the way. According to unconfirmed reports, Chris Columbus, who wrote both of the original films, has signed on to produce new installments for both franchises. The new Gremlins film is said to be a sequel-style reboot set 30 years after the original. No details are currently known about the Goonies. John, if true, what do you think about Columbus returning to develop both Gremlins and Goonies?
It's a big if. But let's go with it for a second. Okay, if. As far as the Gremlins go, I'm down. I've always been down. The big question will always be, and I think for a lot of people it's going to be, where are they going to draw that line between CG and the practical effects? I believe the proper use of CG with a Gremlins thing could be really beneficial, as long as you don't go too far, because a lot of that original charm and the real tangibility of it is in the practical effects as well. So they need to find that balance if this is true. Now, going over to the Goonies side, I'm not on board with it. I haven't been from the beginning. I'm not interested in, because the whispers.
What's the difference?
Well, here's the whispers that have been going around. The whispers that have been going around, and once again, these are all unconfirmed, is that what the new Goonies film would be is based on the new adventures of the kids of the original Goonies. Not interested. What I would be quasi-interested in, though, is getting all these original Goonies back. Now, some of them might be getting close to having grandkids at this point. I don't know, but they're older. They all have families, kids of their own. They're at a much more advanced stage of their life, and seeing something else come up that draws them back, that they have to go on some kind of weird adventure. I'd be in for that. But the other part about this that makes me very hesitant is the fact, okay, Columbus is on to produce. That's nice. He was the writer of the original ones. I would have been a lot more interested in the story if they said Chris Columbus has signed on to write a Goonies film and to write a thing.
That would make me less interested.
Really?
Because Chris Columbus is on notice. Like, he hasn't done anything that's been really spectacular for a little while, and even though Pixels that's coming out soon, it sounds super cool, I've got my arms crossed a little bit. And I think that if the Goonies, if they did an adult adventure, then that movie would be called The Hangover 4, probably. Hollywood's not very creative, so I don't know what, I feel like if you keep it to kids, you keep the magic of it. And Earth to Echo worked for that reason, I thought. It was magical.
Ooh.
Christian?
For me, it depends on tone, because for Gremlins especially, when you go back to the original Gremlins, that had almost like a horror element at some point.
Oh, absolutely it did.
Yeah, it was traumatizing.
Yes. The second one was a satire of the first one. So the question is where they're going to go as far as Gremlins go. I hope it's more in the vein of the first one. I know a lot of people like the second one for what it was, but it wasn't my thing. I would prefer to see the tone of the first one. So yeah, Gremlins can work. In regards to the Goonies, I'm okay with the kids' angle if the original characters are involved a lot. I don't mind if it's a joint adventure together and we find good kid actors that can do it, because my problem with Earth to Echo is I thought some of the kids were okay, some of them weren't great. You got to find kids that have that same,
because that original cast
they had everything.
Is magic,
and that chemistry just works. You got to find that. So
well, and they're all famous now, which is no accident, because they're that good.
Corey Feldman's working at 7-Eleven.
You're in.
Oh, come on.
That's harsh.
Sorry.
All right.
I mean, I see the Goonies playing out like this. It starts on the kids, and then they get in trouble trying to go on their own treasure hunt.
Talking about the kids of the original kids.
The kids of the original kids. And then the adults, the original Goonies, have to bail them out, and it's like a joint adventure. I see it playing out like that. We'll see what happens. But if it's a continuation of the story, I'm much more into it. If you're going to try to remake Goonies, you know my stance on that. But if you get the original players involved, if you have Columbus, if you have Steven Spielberg, Richard Donner, then you kind of have magic. You have the ability to continue the story in a way that feels genuine and authentic to the original. So I don't know. I'm kind of interested to see how that one's going to shape out. And Josh Brolin, getting that whole crew back together is magic. Now, Gremlins, completely agree with you. Some of the charm of that was that it was absolutely ridiculous. Gizmo's the cutest little thing ever. Not realistic at all. That was part of the charm. So I also wouldn't want them to go crazy CG. I think that would lose a lot of why Gremlins was successful in the first place. Why it was so creepy, you know?
I think Star Wars now, what they're doing, practical effects, might start a new chain of people. Maybe so we might get lucky where more people start to do more practical effects and get back to it. Let's
hope so. Yeah.
What if Andy Serkis did performance capture as Gizmo?
As Gizmo.
Yes.
Oscar. All right, what's next?
Just remember, guys, Goonies never say die. With all the recent drama and upheaval surrounding the upcoming Marvel film Ant-Man, many wondered if Marvel would bring the struggling film to Comic-Con this year. Well, according to Michael Douglas, they are. In a recent interview with our friends at Collider, Douglas confirmed he would be a part of the Hall H Marvel presentation happening on the Saturday of Comic-Con. No mention who else from Ant-Man will be participating. Christian, is it a good idea to bring Ant-Man to Comic-Con right now?
Yes, and I'll tell you why. I mean, this is Marvel's first oops in a while with everything that they've handled this particular project. But it's not a well-known property. So you have to do as much as you can to advertise it. If they're still going ahead with the release, with how they want to put it out and when they want to put it out, you have to get notice for it. And you have to let people know that it's out there. We're going to see a trailer or anything? No, but you have to. The Avengers is going to be the big story of the Marvel panel. That's going to be the big story.
Sure.
You have to throw that in there. Say, by the way, Ant-Man's still coming. Here's Michael Douglas. He's a huge star.
Yeah.
Here's Ant-Man. It has to be done.
And it needs confidence.
Yeah.
And it needs everybody to start talking about it again in a favorable way instead of a worried way.
Yeah. There's two trains of thought here, right? One train of thought is, look, everybody's still feeling a little butthurt about the whole exit of Edgar Wright, who we all love and adore, and let's give it some time to settle down before we do anything. But the other train of thought, and I agree with both you guys, is you get out ahead of this. Yeah. You just embrace it. You say, look, we are not skipping a beat. And you know, look, everybody knows I'm a huge fan of Edgar Wright. He's done a number of things with us before. I will always be a huge fan of his, and I was looking forward to the Ant-Man thing. But I'm going to tell you right now, the more and more I think about it, I think when Marvel started to realize that the Edgar Wright Ant-Man that they had bought into years ago, before they really started to formulate their cinematic universe, I think the safe thing for Marvel to have done would have been to have stuck with Edgar Wright and that original plan, even though that clearly their universe is different than what they thought it was going to be. I'm actually going on a limb, and nobody likes it when you side with the man instead of the artist, but you know what? Honestly, the more I think about it, it was actually a really courageous move on Marvel's part to say, you know what? We have an artistic vision for what we want our universe to be. We have a tone for what we want our universe to be. And even though now it's going to be really difficult to break with Edgar Wright because we bought into this story that he had, we believe for the sake of our universe we need to do it. And they did. And Edgar Wright seemed to have understood it. And I think them getting in front of this now, going to Comic-Con saying, no, we're not. We are proud of this thing we're putting together. I think the keyword you used is the keyword you used there is confidence. They need to get out there and show, no, we are bold, we're confident in what we decided to do, and we're moving ahead.
I think that most people don't look at Kevin Feige and team as just the man, though. I mean, he has proven that he has love for this property.
Yeah, they're obviously
and he knows
doing
what he's
something
doing. So beyond just like cashing in the dollars, these are quality films. So I feel like Edgar Wright, when you buy into that, who was part of the reason Ant-Man was even being considered in the first place.
Probably he is the reason they're doing Ant-Man at all.
Then, you know, that's the Ant-Man I wanted to see. I'm very disappointed. It doesn't mean it's still not going to be great, but I actually think the harder decision would have been to, you know, let it just ride out and to be like, okay, let's just see what this visionary director that we knew we were buying into, he has a very distinctive style. It's not like that was going to change overnight, would do with a property like this. But yes, they have to capitalize on Nerd Haven at Comic-Con. It's a wasted opportunity if they don't. And, you know, there are still a ton of fans, while it is a lesser known property, there are still a ton of people that want to see Ant-Man. You have a great cast. I mean, Michael Pena, Evangeline Lilly, beyond just the stars at the top. I mean, it's interesting. So,
out of all of the filmmaking experiences that I've ever had, the one that I remember the most is the one where a potential director for a project and I didn't agree on the vision, and we walked away from it. Friends, partying, it was just business, it was no big deal. And that's the one that sticks in my brain.
Right.
So I think your point is 100% right.
Yeah.
Like the fact that they walked away from it and everybody's still friends and Edgar Wright is still a great director is fantastic. Marvel is winning this race.
Yeah.
But I want rights
right now they're
Ant-Man.
the only one in the race. The one thing I will say though that still makes me a bit nervous, and that is like I'm okay that Edgar stuck to his guns. I'm okay that Marvel made the decision they did. They parted ways and all that kind of stuff. My one point of concern, though, it is a clear downgrade in directors.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
You know, when you go with Peyton Reed,
Yeah.
director of The Breakup,
Yeah.
it is a downgrade. So that's my one point of
Yeah,
concern.
and they
here.
rushed that too. It was like, hey, we got Adam McKay, now we got Peyton Reed. It's
Yeah.
like as someone who does comedy.
Well, they
quick.
probably had
Yeah.
a list, an
Sure.
order list. Like our number one choice is this, our number two choice is number three is this, and then when number one didn't work out, okay, we already had our number two
He's more
ready.
moldable, probably.
What's crazy though is that if you had told me that two dudes who directed Arrested Development and Community were coming in to do Winter
Oh,
Soldier,
yeah,
I would have been
absolutely.
like, Marvel, total misstep, you guys are bonkers.
But they had more time to prep.
Yeah. But now we're like, yes, they're back for the third. So, you know.
Like, that's why it's going to be awesome.
like-
Nobody can direct Captain America except
Exactly.
these two.
I put my faith in Marvel even when they make a weird choice that seems really rushed. I'm still on board.
Weird choice. Guardians of the Galaxy, anybody?
Yeah.
We'll
Which
get
looks
into that.
amazing.
Yeah. All right, folks, listen, we've reached that part of the show for buy or sell. Here's how this works. In front of her, Chris Lee's got a few other items in the world of movie news. She's going to run them down. Then Gray, Christian, Amy Rose, and I are simply going to say whether we buy it or sell it. So, Chris Lee, what do we got?
The first official trailer for the upcoming Angelina Jolie directed film Unbroken has just hit the web. The true story follows the incredible life of Olympian and war hero Louis Zamperini, played by Jack O'Connell, who, along with two other crewmen, survived in a raft for 47 days after a near-fatal plane crash in World War II, only to be caught by the Japanese Navy and sent back to a prisoner of war camp. Amy Rose, buy or sell the trailer for Unbroken.
This is like a very passionate buy for me because all elements of talent are intact. You have Angelina Jolie, who's proven that she is pretty much a triple threat. She can do it all. Then you have this amazing World War II story of unbelievable odds. I just cannot believe that this is a true story. And then you have the Coen brothers writing the film. So, I mean, all in all, this is just insane. And the trailer is everything I want it to be. I never get too wrapped up in trailers because we know that they can all really be misleading. But for the trailer, it looked like it was beautifully shot. It had really great tension. It looked like it was going to be, you know, a hero against all odds kind of story, which I'm really into if it's based on history.
You know, one thing I want to discourage people from doing is watching the trailer that has, I think it's Tom Brokaw narrating it. There are two different versions of
haven't
this
seen
one.
that one.
And it has footage of the real life dude in it and makes it but it switches back and forth from the real life man being interviewed to Olympics footage to the actual film, and it's really confusing.
Sounds more documentary style. That's weird.
And that trailer made me sell it. But this trailer, the other one that's just straight up narrative showing the unbelievable story, that was a buy.
Yeah, for me, this is an absolute buy. And you nailed exactly my sentiments exactly in the sense that it's almost impossible to believe this is a true story.
Yeah.
Heroes are real. Like, heroes exist. This is one of the most remarkable men that most of us had never really even heard of. Wait a minute, Olympic champion and war hero, survives 47 days in the ocean, and a Japanese internment camp.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Chuck Norris got nothing on this guy. And he just passed away like 2 weeks ago. The real life guy actually passed away 2 weeks ago. Very sad, but for me, absolute buy.
Yeah, it's a buy. It's a remarkable story. 47 days, not with a tiger life of Pi, but still, it's still. Yeah, you hear the story. When I saw the trailer as I'm watching it, I had a bit of a Disney feel for the first. Just the very beginning, the first 30 seconds. And I'm like, okay, where are we going? What direction? And then it just spins up like, oh my God, I'm going to leave this inspired. I'm going to leave this realizing that Gray and I off camera before we're talking like, when you're challenged like that, where do you go? You don't know right now. If you say, oh, I can never handle it, you don't know until you're tested. And this guy clearly built up that type of tolerance.
My one criticism, though, of the trailer is it sounds like a lot of the lines in the trailer came straight out of a fortune cookie.
Oh, yeah.
Like it was all like memorable, like quote things. Like
those are words of wisdom, John.
I'm
so.
just saying.
You love gambling and horses, and not to excess.
If you can take it, you can make it.
I actually know exactly where I would go in a life or death situation, and that's straight over the edge of the raft into the ocean, eaten by a shark immediately. Like 10 minutes after I get in there. The trailer really displays how spectacular this is, and I hope to God that it's not just a cookie cutter, like 3-act, beginning, middle, end, and has the power of what this guy actually went through.
Pink hair equals strength.
Okay, what's next?
It looks like Mission Impossible 5 may have a new cast member to add to Tom Cruise, Jeremy Renner, and Simon Pegg. According to reports, actor Alec Baldwin is currently in talks to join the cast as the head of the CIA. Gray, would you buy or sell Alec Baldwin joining the cast of Mission Impossible 5?
I buy it because do we remember him as Jack Ryan?
Oh, he's still probably, he's great.
Fantastic. I'm so in. This is one of the most exciting franchises next to Fast and the Furious because it's getting better as it goes on.
Yeah, for me, it's also buy. But do you remember him as the Shadow?
Yeah.
The Shadow is a real guilty pleasure of mine. I love the Shadow. I think it's great. And you know, despite all the whatever hijinks he's got going on in his personal life, whatever, when he's on screen, I'm in. I'm just totally engrossed with him when he's done it. I think he's funny and charming when he's on screen. And I think he's going to be a good fit, head of the CIA. I'm in.
I tentatively buy. Just because Jack Ryan, absolutely, but he's been doing comedy for so long over the last couple of years that I don't want people to be watching him going, okay, crack a joke, all those commercials and everything too. I want him to I know he can nail the serious roles, it'd be cool. I just don't want the Alec Baldwin persona to take over.
You want the Alec Baldwin from The Departed?
Yes.
Nice.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I couldn't buy this fast enough. Talk about a comeback. I mean, he was definitely needing 30 Rock, and that pretty much brought him back. But he can there are elements of comedy in this franchise. Look at Simon Pegg. So I feel like he'll kind of have that smug, like, kind of quality about him that he can bring so well and deliver some good one-liners, but also be fierce when he needs to be. So I think he's perfect fit.
Maybe he'll have a daughter in the movie and he'll yell at her.
I hope
If they had a scene like that, that would be genius. Okay, what's next?
The upcoming Sacha Baron Cohen film Grimsby has apparently found its leading lady. Penelope Cruz will reportedly join Cohen and Mark Strong in the film about a British black ops agent, played by Mark Strong, who is forced to go on the run with his long-lost brother, played by Baron Cohen, who is a Northern English soccer hooligan. The project has been described as a partial parody of the James Bond franchise. John, buy or sell Penelope Cruz joining Grimsby?
I'm going to sell it, actually. And I'm actually surprised myself because I like Penelope Cruz. Like, for like almost a couple of decades, not only is she like just a sultry sex symbol, she's a really talented, gifted actress.
Yeah, John, you're allowed to like Captain Crunch. You love Penelope Cruz.
Yeah, I know, but for whatever reason, when I heard her name associated with this, I felt gears grinding and shit. I don't see this as a fit, even though she's a remarkable talent. But I mean, hey, look, I'm going to go into it. Hopefully she surprises me completely, because overall, I'm really looking forward to this movie. I just don't see her as a fit. What do you think?
I'm curious if we went back in time and we said buy or sell Rose Byrne in Neighbors, where you would have been, because I think that's kind of
I would have been confused. And then you're right. I loved her in it.
So that's and Penelope Cruz was the only thing. I just watched The Counselor for the first time today. Not a comedy, obviously, but she shines in everything that she's in. And I'd like to see her play comedy because she can do it all, and she's a lot more talented than a lot of people may think. She's not just a pretty face. She's very talented.
Yes.
I want to see her go back and forth. Because you talk about a guy that brings comedy and brings back and forth. That's Sacha Baron Cohen.
Yeah.
So I'm
and him offset against Mark Strong, I think is going to be really cool. What do you think?
I'm going to not really sell Penelope Cruz. I'm just going to sell the idea of this movie because first of all, the title, you couldn't possibly get more British. So I'm like, that's fine. But the patriot in me is like, no, America. Sacha Baron Cohen, a little bit like Chris Columbus, is on notice for me. Just because I think he's uneven.
I kind of like The Dictator.
Good for you.
I kind of like The Dictator. I did.
I thought he was
actually really
necessary
good, but he didn't carry it though.
No, he was good.
Here's my expression when I see his movies. I go in like this. Right? It's never like, it's always a this. And so this movie to me, a Penelope Cruz or no, I'm a little bit...
I'm buying it for the same reason that you're not, because these three together is so odd. I think it's going to work well. I would never put Cohen, Cruz, and Strong together. They are completely on the opposite spectrum of acting that I would ever see fitting, but I like that. That's why I think it's going to work. And you're right. Penelope Cruz has done a little like comedic, like Vicky Cristina Barcelona. You could see elements of that, but for the most part, it's a lot more dramatic.
She did that one film with Salma Hayek too, where it was kind of like a Western sort of thing.
That's right. No.
Yeah, two chicks like living for them.
Yes, there's a reason we don't really remember
let's not
it all
bring
that
that
well.
one up. But yeah, I just think this sounds weird and interesting and like an odd couple, which I'm always giving the benefit of the doubt.
All right. Well, folks, we've reached that part of the show for Mailbag. Listen, if you've got a topic or a question you'd like us to address on the show, you can email us anytime at amcmovietalk@gmail.com. Now, listen, if you're watching this show live, and we do this show live every single day, Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, if you're one of those people watching live, you can start tweeting in some questions to @AMC Movie News, and we'll save a little bit of time at the end of the show to take your live questions. But for now, it's time for the Mailbag. So, Crystal, what do we got?
Vince Vasella writes, "Hey AMC Movie Talk, I'm a big fan of your show. What do you guys think would happen first? Andy Serkis getting an Oscar nomination for one of his mocap performances, or Leonardo DiCaprio winning an acting Oscar award?" Cheers.
I love this question.
It's a
This
phenomenal
is,
question.
and I love the way he worded it too. It's not who will win an Academy Award first, Andy Serkis. It's will Serkis get a nomination first, or will DiCaprio get one first? That's tough.
Leo.
Because I still think the Academy might be a few years away from acknowledging. Here's the problem with Andy Serkis.
Okay, hold on. You were trying to be really nice about that. I'm not going to be. Do you really think that a whole bunch of old white guys in the Academy are going to actually recognize the unbelievable talent that it takes for dudes to be in spandex pretending to be apes that get turned into something else by a computer? It's going to take them a long time.
It's the same Academy, though, who gave 11 Oscars to the Lord of the Rings film. Like, let's not forget that, too.
It's going to happen this year. I'm telling you it's going to happen this year. Mark the time code of this video. Andy Serkis will be nominated
God, I
this
hope
year.
you're
For
right.
what?
For
John.
I'm going to go out and
But no,
I know
what
he's saying
category?
because it's
A new
there's
category?
no way it can be Best Supporting Actor. It's the movie. When you see the movie, you'll know it is a lead actor. I know it's going to be wow. Can't believe they finally nominated. Everyone thinks it's so far behind. It's not going to happen. It is impossible to not acknowledge this guy. And I think because of all the backlash from what he's gotten with Gollum and what he's gotten before with the first Planet of the Apes. Yes, they're older than dirt. But they have to realize that this is it's a topic that needs to be handled. I'm very passionate about this. Andy Serkis needs to be recognized for this performance.
I
Don't
love
forget-
your optimism.
What is the biggest obstacle, though, is not all the old white guys. It's the members of the Academy who happen to belong to SAG. They're going to be the bigger
a lot of
roadblock.
obstacles.
And they're going to be the
it's
bigger
acting
roadblock.
now.
But I think Toby Kebbell will actually
It
help.
wasn't before, but now it is.
I think Toby Kebbell will help Andy Serkis' chances because because it was only just Andy Serkis for a while who's the only guy ever mentioned. Well, he's the only one doing it. When you see what Toby Kebbell...
That's a hindrance,
Yeah, when you see what Toby Kebbell does,
He's amazing.
obviously building off of the pioneer that is Andy Serkis, you start to recognize, you see these people in these performances.
Yeah.
So I do believe, and I think Leonardo will eventually win, Andy Serkis will be nominated this year.
God, I hope so.
I mean, Apes was phenomenal, and you're right. It wasn't just, it was everything about it. The energy, the tone, like everything. It's one of the best films. I'm still gonna go X-Men for those of you that asked, but this is a close number 2 for me. But Leonardo DiCaprio, his body of work, like Serkis has come out of the woodwork for the last big franchises, he's amazing, but Leonardo DiCaprio has been passed over so many freaking times. It's insane, but I don't know if the Academy's ready to acknowledge him either. So this is a great question.
Do you know what Leo needs to do? He needs to do a small personal movie. He needs to get away from all of his movies are spectacular, but they're huge and they're very obviously Oscar bait. He needs to do a really personal small film to remind people he's that kid from Gilbert Grape.
Yeah.
That's what is going to win him an Oscar.
Here's the problem that Leonardo DiCaprio's run into, though, the way I see it, is that it's what makes the Oscar so difficult to win. Is Leonardo DiCaprio a dude who, overall, when you look at his career, deserved to have an Oscar on his mantle? Absolutely. But the weird thing is, when I sat back, because we did this a couple months ago, right after the Oscars, when you look back over the Oscar history where Leonardo DiCaprio was nominated, every year that he was nominated, I look at who won and go, I can't argue with that. And then the next year when Leo was awesome, but somebody else won, and I look at who won, I go, that year, I can't argue with that, you know? And it's that thing, you can be brilliant. That's what makes the Oscars so hard. You can be brilliant, but if somebody else just in that one performance happens to be just a little bit more, it's tough.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Leo, though. I think Leo will win an Academy Award within the next 2 years.
Basically, if Daniel Day-Lewis is in any category, you have
So as long as Daniel Day-Lewis keeps cobbling his shoes, then Leo DiCaprio will
Let's
win
meet
an
back
Academy
here
Award.
in March and April, please.
All right, what's
I
next?
hope you're right.
Frankie Estrie writes, my family and I love the show and watch it all the time. I can't wait to hear from you at Comic-Con. Question, do you think it's possible to see a teaser trailer of Batman v Superman at Comic-Con, and at the end of the trailer a release date for the movie, maybe July 2015?
Well, I said on AMC Mailbag the other day, I said, you know what, honestly, I said if Warner Brothers hadn't started releasing promotional images of Batman and Superman 2 years in advance, they hadn't started doing that, I'd say, no way they're going to show us footage. But then I said, but they are doing that.
Yep.
I got a feeling they're trying to get ahead of this thing. I think they will, and I'm actually starting to buy into this crazy conspiracy theory that at some point Warner Brothers is going to announce that they're actually releasing in 2015. It's going to be Justice League in 2016. But I believe I've been reading some reports now that WB isn't even bringing Batman v Superman to Comic-Con. And if that is the case, then there goes my theory right out the window. Have you guys heard anything about this?
I haven't heard anything, but I kind of feel like it's going to be similar to what we saw for Avengers 2, where it's basically just a bunch of images spliced together, and that excites us. That's all they really need to do. So.
Well, it's just that Age of Ultron logo came up on
Seriously.
the screen. Yeah.
So, I mean, I feel like, again, it's a wasted opportunity when your biggest audience is here. And you're right, we have seen the Batmobile. We have seen, different images. So I do think we'll see something.
I think we'll see a trailer because what Guardians of the Galaxy did last year, they were filming for 2 weeks and a big teaser that actually
10 days.
Yeah, well, right. And the same trailer they released at Comic-Con came out months later. It was the same one, basically.
Yeah.
I think we'll see something. I don't think it'll be July. I think they're still going to hold that
2016.
2016.
I hope for their sake that they do something because Warner Brothers really needs
need
help
it,
right
yeah.
now.
Yeah.
If you look at their slew of last movies, they haven't done well. The studio's in trouble. Rotten Tomatoes is a Warner Brothers company, full disclosure. And it's unnerving to see all of this, and it makes me feel really nervous for this movie that needs to be really good. So I hope they show up there.
That's why another Harry Potter is going to come.
Yeah, that's why they're going to lure JK out of that little gold-laden cave of hers.
Help
to make
us!
more.
Seriously.
All right, folks, so I said we would leave a few minutes at the end of the show for live questions, so we're going to do just that. You might have time to squeak one in. Tweet us at AMC Movie News. Chris Lee is our gatekeeper. So, Chris Lee, what have you picked out?
Brian wants to know, do you think we will hear John Williams' iconic score in Jurassic World, and will another JW ever come along?
Well, here's John Williams. The funny thing is, J.J. Abrams, Michael
Giacchino.
Thank you very much. Giacchino, who is normally J.J. Abrams' composer,
Who's amazing.
got kind of taken off Star Wars. He was never on it, but got removed from Star Wars, even though J.J. was doing it, and John Williams is doing it to the glee of us all.
Yeah.
But now that same Giacchino is actually he's composing Jurassic World. I believe you will absolutely hear that score, and I believe Giacchino, because he's an Emmy-winning composer.
He's amazing.
He's great. I believe what you'll hear throughout the film is probably several variations of that same score, but I do believe at some point, probably off the bat, you'll hear that iconic score. Any other thoughts?
I think so too, because Colin Trevorrow said they're kind of going back to what was built originally.
Yes,
I think they're going to give a couple nods, and Giacchino's a student of Williams, so yeah, I do think we'll hear a little bit of it.
Yeah,
Right.
and as iconic as Jurassic Park is, Star Wars is that much more, so they needed to get John Williams
Right.
back for that. But Giacchino is more than capable, as you just brought up. He scored Apes, which was really, really well done. The tension was perfectly timed. So yeah, I think it will happen.
Based on everything that they've been saying, it seems as though they are returning back to everything that made us love Jurassic Park back in '91. So I think that homage is what we're going to see.
It's such a
Agreed.
classic score.
All right, what's next?
Chris Marabella wants to know, could we see a Darkman reboot?
It's possible. Darkman's a really cool thing, and I mean, no, you wouldn't get Liam Neeson coming back for that, which is
but what
too
if?
bad. But I mean, there are absolutely. I mean, there's a little bit of Darkman in Kick-Ass too, because you remember Kick-Ass gets hit by the car. Oh, it killed his nerve endings. He doesn't feel pain like everybody else. Well, that was like Darkman to the nth degree. Look, it's a semi-recognizable IP. It's something they could probably put together without too much effort. I would be surprised if within the next 5 years we didn't see another Darkman.
You know, it depends on how certain similar properties do. So it's like Ant-Man, off the beaten path, and Guardians of the Galaxy, also irreverent and weird. Not the same as Darkman, but kind of in the same neighborhood.
Yeah.
It always scares me though when movies like this have gone so many direct-to-DVD routes. Like there's like Darkman 4, 5, 6 already. It's hard to reboot a franchise like that. It's not to say they can't do it, but for me, it's just like they've done so many stinky ones already. I don't want to.
Darkman goes to Malibu.
It's kind of like they did.
With
Well,
Jamie
actually,
Kennedy.
that sounds kind of fun. It's kind of what they
And
did
his
with Dumb and
bandages
Dumber.
are totally organic this time.
Yeah, they're
And
living
he
bandages.
Hates granola and drives a hybrid too.
No one drives a hybrid.
But it's kind of what they did with Dumb and Dumber. How it was the fake sequel, you know? Like, that came after, it wasn't really the same people, and, like, then it finally came out, and, like, sure, some of us are excited about it, but I agree. It's like, if you do so many of it, it kind of loses the magic of it, even if you do it right. I'm just kind of like,
it's like
and
Crow.
without
The
Liam
Crow
Neeson-
also.
I was exactly
Yeah.
about to say the one thing you could do is you could reboot this thing and go a little bit, because there's a bit of Crow in it, in the sense of this wrong man who basically gets sort of killed in many ways, now just out for bloodthirsty revenge sort of thing. I mean, there's an element to that, and you could really go that way.
Get
right
Denzel,
now.
we're good to go.
Take the elephant.
What's next?
Hector J wants to know, with Apocalypse being the next X-Men villain, how much of a challenge do you think he'll be?
He's the challenge.
Yeah.
He's
Like-
Apocalypse.
Yeah.
Fresh mutant.
It's not just a clever name, you guys.
No. and his 4 horsemen, great. He's got great marketing people.
Yeah.
Apocalypse has got great marketing. You know what I need? 4 horsemen. And he gets out 4. No, he's going to be the challenge. The big question you go is, and it's fine. I mean, we're now 15 years into the X-Men franchise. At some point, you got to bring in Apocalypse. Now, the challenge that we always say, you can't bring in Darkseid or Doomsday into your first Superman movie, because then where do you go from there?
Yeah.
We're 15 movies in, or 15 years into X-Men, you can bring in Apocalypse now. It does present a challenge about, okay, what do you do after Apocalypse?
Yeah.
You can't kill him in this movie, because I think you're going to need him for a couple of films. But yeah, he's the challenge.
Let's just say there's a reason they announced it the way they did, and he's in the title of the film.
Yeah.
That's not with X-Men, you know? Like, it's he is the villain. Like, it's on.
I'm not going to
basically.
worry about what comes after. I'm just going to get really, really excited because it looks like Bryan Singer is going to, I mean, he's going to come back. He's not completely confirmed yet, but
He's
this
tweeting-
allows...
he's tweeting
He's
out.
tweeting
out his
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, I
he's
know.
in.
It's not done till the contracts are signed, you guys. But I thought the last one was so exceptional, and what he pulled off, it was such a nice, like, hey,
Unbelievable.
remember Brett Ratner?
Nope.
Me either. I'm excited.
What are you talking about? Hercules is coming out. Wow. Okay, anyway. So I'm actually excited for Hercules. I am. It's just
It will be a
looks
good
iffy.
opportunity to retire some of the characters as well, if that's the direction
true.
they're going, because it's Apocalypse.
You got to make
so-
Apocalypse the ultimate villain.
Exactly.
This is where John made the point. 15 movies in.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Let's have someone that just comes in like, whoa, we've seen nothing like this guy before. That's all.
Yeah.
All right, let's get 2 more quick ones.
Connor Murray wants to know, what is your favorite movie adaptation of a Stephen King novel?
Golly. Carrie is so good.
I don't know how you go past that.
Can I go short story and say
Sure,
and say Shawshank Redemption?
Well, the Shawshank Redemption is
fantastic.
also the Green Mile. Was a really I think that's an underappreciated film. I think that's really special. It's no Shawshank Redemption.
Now you're obviously talking about the original Carrie, right?
Yes, I am talking about the
Let's
original
not talk
Carrie.
about
What? What are you talking about? You're not talking crap
Yeah,
about
I
last year's
love
Carrie,
it.
are you?
And didn't he hated The Shining? He hated the version of it, but
It's still a great
It's
movie.
super
I love it,
iconic.
Yeah. I'm going to go with you, Shawshank, because Shawshank is like in my top 3 all-time favorite
yeah.
films ever made. So
I'm still going to stick with Carrie, and I am going to give everybody advice that if you want to totally change how you look at Carrie, turn it off when she's slow dancing with Tommy, and it's actually a really beautiful, happy film.
it's an ending. It's a beautiful ending.
Power of music.
All right, one last one.
Eris P wants to know, do you guys think Evan Peters' Quicksilver will become the new face of X-Men when Hugh Jackman stops playing Wolverine?
No.
face.
Don't get me wrong. He was wonderful
Yeah.
in X-Men Days of Future Past. But that's the thing. He was wonderful because of also how they used the character.
Yep.
Yeah.
They used him perfectly. I don't think that's a character you take and make the face of a franchise. Then it grows old. He's perfect in certain bite sizes, and I think if they continue to use him as a really good, strong supporting character, they'll be golden. But as the new face,
He's also
no.
not a leader. I mean,
No, he's not.
and that's the whole thing. I think the better question is who's going to be the better Quicksilver, the one that we saw in X-Men or Whedon's.
Taylor-Johnson.
I mean, I think it's just we all saw all the material surrounding it, and I was like, oh god, this is going to be awful. And he stole every scene he was in, but he's not a leader like Wolverine. He doesn't have that gruff kind of mysterious way about him. He follows directions. So
God, it's exactly the kind of thing that Hollywood loves to just put in the wrong amount.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, oh, hey, he's so irreverent. Everybody loved it. Let's give him his own movie.
It's like
that
cinnamon.
doesn't
He's like
happen.
cinnamon, right? You put a little bit of cinnamon on something, and it tastes awesome. Now go on YouTube and look up the cinnamon challenge.
Yeah.
Just put pure cinnamon on a teason and try to take it on its
But
own.
that's it.
You barf.
But
And
there is
fun
one.
fact, Cinnamon and Quicksilver, top 2 stripper names.
Yeah, that's great. But one of the things that, to
Yes.
be fair though, Yeah, we got him in short doses, but people did love him. I am not opposed to seeing a lot more
Me
of
too.
him
Yeah.
in
Sure.
another movie and develop because his
But in a supporting role.
Right, but I also want to know what's going to happen with that Magneto storyline with him. So there's
Yeah,
more
me
stuff
too.
for him to do. Leading, not yet, but it's not to say in a couple years maybe we do get a standalone film from him.
If they develop him into
Correct.
that. Because don't forget, Fassbender is also confirmed. Fassbender himself said at the junket, yeah, Quicksilver is Magneto's kid
Yeah, that's
in the
right.
movie universe. So it's
And
like
they teased it, and that was the best
they teased
part
it in the
ever
movie. It was
film.
funny. My mom dated a guy who could do
Yeah.
that. Wah, wah.
They're both super
So-
sarcastic when you draw the comparisons. They do have a couple.
All right, folks, so listen, we've already gone overtime a little bit here. Thank you so much for your patience with us, and thank you so much for joining us. Listen, don't forget, lots of great films playing at AMC Theaters right now, including, starting tonight, Apes on Horses. Head on over to www.amctheaters.com for your theater, showtime, and your movie ticket information. If you want an audio-only version of this episode, look in the description of this video, and you'll find links to our podcast feed and to our iTunes directly, so you can listen to us on the way to work or while you're working out or whatever you'd like. Also, don't forget, if you haven't done so already, click on the subscribe button, click the thumbs up button, and share this video around. I want to thank the people sitting at the table with me. First of all, our senior editor of movie news here at AMC, Miss Amy Rose Eisenbach. Amy Rose, where can people find you online?
At Amy Rosie on Twitter and Instagram. Apes together strong.
And of course, Mr. Christian Harloff. Christian, where can people find you online?
Well, if you're at Comic-Con, make sure you check me out at the Masters of the Web panel with the gentleman sitting on my left here and some other cool people. It's going to be a lot of fun. Go there. But on Instagram and Twitter at Christian Harloff.
And of course, our very special guest today from Rotten Tomatoes, Miss Gray Drake. Gray, where can people find you online?
I am at Gray Drake on Twitter, and I just want to thank you for having me back.
Thank you for being
do the
had.
apes.
You gonna do the thing? Thank you. That was my apes reference.
I
Go
haven't
see
seen
it.
the new one yet. And of course, our gatekeeper today, Miss Crystal Lee Kennedy. Crystal, where can people find you online?
You guys can find me everywhere at Crystally.
And of course, you can find me on the various social media networks just at John Campia. Thanks a lot for joining us, guys. My name's John Campia for AMC Movie News, and until next time, bye-bye.
Hey everyone, if you liked this video, click that thumbs up button and make sure to subscribe to our AMC Movie News YouTube channel. It's free and helps you stay up to date with all the latest movie news, as well as our daily AMC Movie Talk show. Also, make sure that you follow us on Facebook and Twitter to stay up to date with all of our special promotions, contests, and prize giveaways.